Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel VLSIChaps. I'm sure looking at the title you must have guessed the video of which we are talking about today. So yeah, we are talking about Visual Studio Code editor today. So those who have just started the programming language or any programming development activity and looking for one particular tool on which they can develop various applications. So Visual Studio Editor is an integrated development environment that fits the best. The reason is it is developed by the Microsoft and it has various building blocks and the tools available within a single platform. It supports various languages like C, C++, C hash, JavaScript, and whatnot. So you will have not just developing and programming experience, but also if you want to debug that particular code or you want to collaborate that code with various cloud platforms like Azure or Git. That also you can do. It has various features available. So we will go one by one how to install that, where to install that, and what is the that particular GUI of that editor. Yeah, so let's get started. So let's first download the Visual Studio Code. For that, you just need to write Visual Studio in the Google, and it has its own website for the download and all the documentation. You can go to the either downloads, or you can just go down and click on this button which says Visual Studio Code, download that particular item. So if you have Windows PC, then you can have using Windows Cross 64 installer. If you have Mac or Linux 64, accordingly you can download the packages. So right now I have Windows system, so I will download the Windows Cross 64. So you can see here it is downloading. Let's wait until it gets downloaded. So as you can see, I have downloaded the Visual Studio Code here. Let's run it as an administrator and install it. You want to continue? Yes. So I accept the agreement. Click on the next. You can also create the desktop icon according to your option or choice. Click next. And you can now click on the install. Now I have already installed the Visual Studio Code, so I'm not installing it. But after installing, you will be redirected to one pop-up and it will be installing the rest of the APIs, and you are done with the installing part. So I want to exit the setup, yes. And now we will open the Visual Studio Code. So as you can see, we have opened the Visual Studio Code. Now it has various options. Here is the Explorer where you can open various files and folders. You can search throughout your folder for various files, or can say the keywords in your programs. Here we have one source control option. This source control is basically to link your code with the remote Git repository, or can say to work with remote platforms or version control systems like GitHub and GitLab. You can do the same with this command, or can say the option. If you want to run or debug your code, then you can click with this run and debug. This is various extension that Visual Studio Code provides. So based on your programming language or the various extensions that fits best to your programming language, you can download that. We have as a part of C or C++ developer, you can install this extension. You can install Git as well to work with the remote repository. Along with that, if you can see the Python, then we will have various Python extension installer which are related to that particular programming language. You can see here. So accordingly, based on your type or your requirement, you can have various extensions. This extension basically provides the support to your programming graphical user interface of that particular programming language. So you can have more efficiency at the time of debugging and coding. So this project manager will have one sort of organized manner you can have while dealing with more than one projects. You can have this project manager where you can separate, or can say you can separately distinguish each and every project when it comes to developing and programming, So yeah, this is all about the quick reviews of all these icons. Let's now open one particular folder. So I will click on the open folder. So I already have one particular Learning Visual Studio 5. So I will open that. So you can see in this particular folder, whatever the files or items that I have, that will already get listed here. Or you can directly open it from the particular file menu and open file or open folder. You can click on that and do whatever the activity you want to do. You will have also the edit option to edit your code, to undo or redo, or to copy paste, to find any keyword or replace particular keyword with another one. All that stuff you can do with the edit section. With the selection, you can basically move particular cursor. You can jump to one particular code to the another particular code, and all this stuff, like you can say add cursor above, add cursor below, right? So you can do whatever the movement activity that you want to do in your particular code. When it comes to very huge code, or the program size is very huge, at that point of time the selection comes into the picture. Now if we go into the view, then we will have various graphical user interface kind of selections, or can say the options. Like in appearance, you can have various options, like whether you want to go to the full screen or not. One of them is command palette. This command palette is quite interesting. Like if you are, like I said, if you are dealing with very huge code and you want to, do particular operation, then rather doing it manually, you can just go to the command prompt and you can go to this command palette and type the particular uh, command that you wanted to do. Like for an example, let's say I have this code available here, and I will do Control Shift P, which is the shortcut of this command palette, and I will see generate documentation. So it will give the all the available APIs, or can say the format for documentation, or can say the commenting out a particular code. When we are dealing with the documentation or in the form of Doxygen, then it is necessary we follow that particular pattern. So you don't need to write all this stuff up. You just need to write that particular command, or can say fire that particular command. And how will you do that? You can have the command palettes. So this is one of the example. If you go to the Go, then you will have various editor options, like you can switch from one editor to the another editor. If you want to go to any particular file, then you can select here, like say I want to go to test2. So these are the options that you can do even without this particular menu bar. You can directly just jump from here to here. So it is not that much of comes into the picture. But as a part of this particular menus, I'm just revising it out. So the important part is this run. When we are done with the programming and we wanted to now execute the code at that particular time, before building that particular application, if we want to debug, then you you can choose this run options, which provides the debugging facility. This option is the same as what we have discussed earlier, like here, this debug ones, run and debug, right? So let's say I want to debug, then you can start debugging. So to debug that particular code, you should have GDB installed, one which is called GDB debugger program, which is which helps to debug your code. So as you can see, unable to start debugging, the value of mi debugger path is invalid. So the reason is that to debug this particular whole code, we will have one launch.json file. In this file, you can have various configuration parameters. You can write these parameters on your own based on the customization that you want. So the error here is that in this mi debugger path, you have to write the path to your GDB debugger. As if I have not installed it yet, I haven't that particular path defined. But if you are dealing with very complex task and executing various complex code, at that point of time, you can write down the path to your debugger here. And another variable that you are supposed to set is here the program. The program will be your workspace folder, which is this, in this case, this Learning Visual Studio, and in that particular folder, whatever the file that you want to debug, that you have to add. So all these things you can write it down based on your requirement. Right now we are not able to debug because of the unavailability of GDB debugger, but you can do that on your own. It is not that complex. Another option is this terminal. You can uh, compile and execute your code with this terminal. So here you can see this terminal menu, which shows the path at which our file is available. So for an example, I have write it down here one simple code of addition. And if I want to add particular two integers, then I will save the file first. Then I will use GCC compiler, GCC add.c-o add. So it will compile the code, successfully compiled it. Let's execute add. So it gives enter two integer values. I will enter two integers. It will give the sum of two integers. So just writing down or just programming that particular code, if you want to execute it, we will have this amazing facility of terminal. You do not need to install any Ubuntu system, or can say the Linux system, to use this GCC. You can have this in a very optimized, or can say customized way in IDE itself. In this help, you can go to the various documentation and the commands that you are supposed to use with this command line palette, and you can basically get the help of anything that you are not aware of, or can say you want to explore something, right? So you can also find the documentation here also in this particular site from which we downloaded. From that as well, you can download the documentation. So after going through all the items that Visual Studio Code is supporting, let's just quickly go through the Git section. So this is very interesting when you are dealing with the huge projects, or can say the products development activity. At that time, multiple developers are working on one single application of the code. So to handle more than one versions of the code, you use Git or GitLab. If you are new to this particular term, you can skip the video from here. You can learn the Git and GitHub and come back to this particular portion where you can have these various Git related activities. So here, if you can see this, if you click on this Git icon, you can see various menus like source control, which will which will display or can say list the items that you have in your current repository. You can see various commits. Here there is one commit which I added yesterday, so that shows that particular one commit. Commit detail will show various commit related property like when it happened or what is the change in that particular commit and whatever or etc. So this file history will show that what is happened in that particular file at that point of time of the commit. What did I exactly do? So as a part of the commit, I just removed one particular line and committed it. So it was nothing a huge change here. You can see branches in this branch section, that whatever the branch that you are working on or whatever the branches that you have available. Here we have currently one branch, VD code. Let's say I'm creating another branch, git checkout -b vs tutorial, switch to the new branch VS tutorial. So I have created another branch from this VS code branch, and that is VS tutorial. So here you can see the branches are two. Now currently we are in the VS tutorial branch, and whatever the change that we will do, that will be reflected in this VS tutorial branch. So let's say I'm doing one change, rather addition of these two integers. Let's do subtraction and save this code. Now if you can see, my bad, yeah, if you can see here, you want to check the difference of what happened, then you can see previously it was plus, now I have minus. So using git diff, you can check the difference between these two versions of the file. Now if you can see here, source control, then you will see this M and U. That means U means untracked. It is the change, whatever the change that we have made, that change is not yet added into our local branch. So we have to add that change, and you can add this change, and now it will say it is modified. That change has been modified in our local branch. That means this change has been available in our local branch, but how to push it remotely? This branch will be available remote as well, that particular what can say the remote platform on browser. So currently this change is in my system. Now if I want to reflect the same change at remote, then I have to commit something, and that will be here. So in and all, what we can say is Visual Studio Editor is one kind of integrated development environment where any developer or programmer, or can say even a student who has just started his career in programming, can easily learn and develop various build blocks, or can say the applications. If we talk about the user perspective, that whatever the add-on feature that this particular integrated development environment adds, then one is the cross-platform support, that you can not just have Windows application, but you can run this environment in any Linux or Mac OS or any cross-platform tool. Also, it provides the support to versatile and extension languages, not just C or C++ or can say Java that are commonly used, but also C#, JavaScript, various frameworks of particular languages. So this compiler will give the add-on features on these languages with the help of extension tools, or can say the various frameworks that it supports. So you can have your add-on features on top of whatever you are developing. Also, apart from that, it supports the inbuilt terminal. You can execute the code, run the code without having Linux. So as a part of terminal, it will be very easy for execution. So you can have that as well. It also supports the remote control when it comes to Git or GitHub. Your code can be integrated with these remote platforms using Git. So it also provides the support of the Git. Also, it is very easy to use. It has very optimum time complexity, or can say the utilization of time, and the storage, memory storage of this particular programming application is also very less. So it is as a point of as a programmer point of view, when it comes to working with the large projects, at that point of time this application comes into the very handy, or can say very optimized solution. So yeah, this is all for today, guys. Please do like, share, and subscribe to VLSIChaps. You can share this video to your colleagues, your friends, whomsoever who is willing to learn, and give them the knowledge that you gained today. Also, you can be a part of the VLSIChaps community and share your knowledge with us in various platforms. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Goodbye.